And yes, pretty much everyone on stage is once again a student. Me personally, I've already gone to Amazon, Xfinity, and AT&T to get a discount on services, so if I'm missing anything on the list, especially like grocery stores or gas stations, let me know because I'd love to get something on the low. Before we get started, let's go over the basics. As always, go ahead and check it on Facebook and tag us in your Instagram story. And then please make sure to put your phones on silent for the duration of the show. This program is going to be amazing, in particular the program notes, but sadly, no photography or video filming is allowed. If you're a current or former musician and you're interested in making music once more, we'd be happy to have you. And in case you're wondering, yes, we are a diverse and inclusive group. So we've got all your regular band instruments like saxophones, of course, flutes, trombones, oboes, trumpets, clarinets, tubas, French horns, and a couple you'd see only in an orchestra. We've got a violinist, a couple of cellos, and a double bass. Related note, does anybody out there play bassoon? Anybody? Any French horn players? Okay, just wondering, just checking. Anyway, tonight's program is full of great music, fantastic musicians, brilliant guest conductors, and soloists. As we move through the program, you can read more about each of our featured artists in your handy program notes. Pay attention because there might be a quiz at the end of the show. Let's kick off the music tonight with Centennial Fanfare. Ohio-born composer Roger Cichy is a world-class composer known for taking intangible experience and emotions and turning them into memorable musical works. His compositions seek to portray things such as the slow-growing momentum of daybreak, the chaotic, out-of-control nature of pandemonium, and the graceful, lyrical movement of a sand dune. The music of Roger Cichy is continually being performed throughout the United States and abroad. In 2007, Cichy was the commissioned composer for the premiering Sydney Music Festival held at the Sydney Opera House in Australia. Today, Roger is a widely sought-after composer for commissions writing for professional orchestras, high school, university, and professional bands, choruses, and film. He frequently appears as a composer in residence and guest conductor. A fanfare is a short musical flourish which is typically played by trumpets, French horns, or other brass instruments, often accompanied by percussion. It's a brief improvised introduction to instrumental performance. A fanfare also has been defined in the Golden Encyclopedia of Music as a musical announcement played on brass instruments before the arrival of an important person, such as the heralding the entrance of a monarch. While he's not exactly a monarch, I do know someone who has the ability to enter a room, cast a few meaningful glances, and with a wave of his hands, get others to do his bidding instantly. Please join us as we welcome our esteemed director and conductor, Slava Michael Prudchenko, to the stage. Our next composer and piece truly need no introduction. Beethoven was a prolific German composer and pianist. He's one of the most revered figures in the history of Western music. His works rank among the most performed of the classical music repertoire and span the transition from the classical period to the Romantic era in classical music. Beethoven's career has conventionally been divided into early, middle, and late periods. From 1802 to around 1812, his middle period showed an individual development from the styles of Haydn and Mozart, and is sometimes characterized as heroic. During this time, he began to grow increasingly deaf. Beethoven's hearing loss did not prevent him from composing music, but it made playing at concerts, an important source of his income at the time, increasingly difficult. Beethoven had a great number of achievements. Perhaps his greatest achievement was to raise instrumental music, which was considered inferior to vocal music at the time, to the highest plane of art. In the vast expanse of classical music, few compositions have etched themselves as deeply into the collective consciousness as Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, making it the most widely recognized piece of classical music in the modern day. It opens with an iconic fourth note motif, often likened to fate knocking at the door. This instantly recognizable theme captures the listener's attention from the first bars and leaves a lasting impression. Not many people know that this famous work, along with his Sixth Symphony, was dedicated to two of his closest friends, one of whom was Prince Andriy Rumzovsky, son of the last hetman of Ukraine Count, and for whom he wrote famous string quartets. Enjoy as we present one of the greatest compositions from Beethoven himself.
Thank you.
If you were writing a musical piece reminiscing about the glories of the Roman Empire, how would you do it? That's something Respighi, who was an Italian composer, violinist, teacher, and musicologist, and one of the leading Italian composers of the early 20th century, had to do as he wrote Pines of Rome. His compositions range over operas, ballets, orchestral suites, choral songs, chamber music, and transcriptions of Italian compositions of the 16th through 18th centuries. But his best known and most performed works are his 3 orchestral tone poems, which brought him international fame: Fountains of Rome in 1916, Pines of Rome in 1924, and Roman Festivals in 1928. The Pines of Rome is a tone poem in 4 movements for orchestra completed in 1924. Several years ago, we played the entire piece in this ensemble, so it's nice to go back and play a bit of it again for everyone here. The Pines of the Appian Way is the 4th and final movement of the Pines of Rome. In it, Respighi recalls the past glories of the Roman Empire and a representation of dawn, of the great military road leading into Rome. The final movement portrays pine trees along the Appian Way in the misty dawn, as a triumphant legion advances along the road in the brilliance of the newly rising sun. Directing us through this walk through the glories of Rome is our very own Derrick Jones from the flute section. Give him a warm welcome. Just pretend he's the emperor. The next piece we'll present is a tribute to a legendary Native American creature written by Richard Saucedo. Saucedo is a freelance arranger and composer, having released over 300 marching band arrangements, concert band and orchestral works, as well as many choral compositions. He's currently on the writing staff for the Hal Leonard Publishing Corporation. His concert band works have been performed all over the world by middle school and high school bands, as well as college and university groups. Mr. Saucedo travels around the world as an adjudicator, keynote speaker, clinician, and guest conductor. He's a member of the Conn-Selmer Division of Education and currently serves as Assistant Chief Judge for Bands of America marching band competitions. He's an aviation enthusiast and a certified private pilot. The Thunderbird is a legendary creature particular to North American indigenous peoples' history and culture. It's considered a supernatural being of power and strength. It's especially important and frequently depicted in the art, songs, and oral histories of many Pacific Northwest coast cultures. But it's also found in various forms among some peoples of the American Southwest, East Coast of the US, Great Lakes, and Great Plains. Flight of the Thunderbird is an energetic work that makes an impressive statement for any ensemble that plays it. Written in a single tempo throughout, Saucedo uses active percussion figures along with powerful brass statements and layers of woodwind lines to create a wonderful overall effect. Directing us through this piece is Dan Johnson, also from the flutes. Give him a warm welcome, and let's get ready to take flight with the Thunderbird. Our next selection is from one of my favorite composers, Claude T. Smith. He was born in Monroe City, Missouri on March 14, 1932. Smith composed over 180 works for band, orchestra, choir, solos, small ensembles, as well as 3 method books for band and orchestra. His compositions have been commissioned and performed by leading musical organizations throughout the world, including the U.S. Air Force Band, the President's own U.S. Marine Band, the U.S. Navy Band, and the U.S. Army Field Band. Smith was active as a clinician and guest conductor throughout the United States, Australia, Canada, and Europe. He received many awards for his contributions to music education and for his work in composition, including numerous ASCAP Composers Awards. Concert Variations was conceived at the annual Missouri Music Educators Convention at a meeting of the Lambda chapter of Phi Beta Mu, a professional organization for band directors. At this meeting, executives of the organization decided to commission a work for concert band as a public service project. This was agreed upon, and Mr. Smith, who was also a member of this organization, was asked to compose the work. It was premiered at the Music Educators Convention in 1975. Opening with a legato tempo featuring colors of the band, the piece develops with a short statement by horn and flute, which precede the rhythmic section. The use of the 7/8 bar is especially effective with the full ensemble treatment. Directing us through Variations is one of our very own, Arthur Wright, so please give him a warm welcome. We're almost halfway through our concert tonight, but before we get to the intermission and a quick 10-minute break, we've got a treat for you. The next piece we'll play was written by a very well-known composer, Camille Saint-Saens. Saint-Saens was a French composer, organist, conductor, and pianist of the Romantic era. His best-known works include Introduction and Rondo, Danse Macabre, the opera Samson and Delilah, the Third Organ Symphony, and the Carnival of the Animals. Saint-Saens was a musical prodigy. He made his concert debut at the age of 10. He was held in high regard throughout his life and influenced the musical styles in particular of his own student, Gabriel Fauré, and later Fauré's own student, Maurice Ravel, both of whom revered him as a genius. The Symphony No. 3 in C minor was completed by Saint-Saens in 1886 at the peak of his artistic career. It's popularly known as the Organ Symphony, since 2 of the 4 sections used the pipe organ, which was unusual for a late Romantic symphony. The use of the pipe organ is still a bit unusual. Luckily, one of our own musicians, Stephanie McMillan, who normally plays cello, also plays organ. She'll join us tonight as our featured soloist. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Stephanie your best and warmest welcome and enjoy as we play the finale to the Organ Symphony and take a quick 10-minute intermission afterwards. Welcome back to the second half of our show tonight. Once again, we appreciate you coming down to enjoy all of our hard work. We'd originally planned some stage time for our string ensemble, but we've encountered some challenges outside of our control, so we'll have to delay that part for another concert. Just think of it like a Zoom meeting. I'm giving you back 15 minutes early, so enjoy that. So we'll move straight forward to Bombasto. It's a one-of-a-kind march written by American composer Orrin R. Farrar. Farrar was born in Indianapolis, Indiana in 1866, son of an English shoemaker and an Indiana woman. Soon after his birth, his family moved to Warren, Ohio. At the age of 19, Farrar enrolled in the famous Dana Musical Institute in Warren, studying theory, composition, and cornet playing. Following graduation, he taught brass instruments and conducted the Institute band for 7 years. He resigned from Dana in 1896 to organize the Indiana State Band, which he led for 2 years. As a march composer, Farrar is most remembered for Bombasto, Indiana State Band, and High Henry's Triumphal. Bombasto found an enduring place in the circus band repertoire, as well as the libraries of municipal bands throughout America. This march was originally published in 1895 on march-sized paper, kind of like a half sheet of regular paper, and had turn of the 20th century instrumentation. It's now been completely rescored for today's modern band, including parts for all standard band instruments. Here to direct us through this march is Duncan. It's not his first time anymore, but please give him a warm welcome as he takes the podium. If you like mashups, you're sure to like this next piece of ours. Ave Maria is a popular and much recorded setting of the Latin prayer of the same name, originally published in 1853 by the French Romantic composer Charles Gounod. He wrote 12 operas, of which the most popular has always been Faust, although his Romeo and Juliet also remains in the international repertoire. He composed a large amount of church music, many songs, and popular short pieces, including the one we're about to play. Ave Maria consists of a melody that Gounod superimposed over a very slightly changed version of Bach's Prelude No. 1 in C major, written in 1722. The 1853 publication has French text, but it's the 1859 version with the Latin Ave Maria which became popular. And just to get ahead of any future questions, yes, there's more than one piece of music for ensembles typically played at funerals, weddings, and quinceañeras called Ave Maria. In addition to this version we're playing, there's also Schubert Ave Maria that has equal popularity. Another fun fact, when I first wrote these program notes, I actually wrote them about the wrong piece of music. Here to perform this piece as our soloist is our very own Dr. Thomas Kramer. Please give him a warm welcome as he takes the stage. right, he's up for some adventure and treasure hunting. How about some pirates? Klaus Badelt is a living German composer, producer, and arranger of film scores, and apparently he's really into pirates too. He started his musical career composing for movies and commercials in his homeland, Germany. In 1998, Oscar-winning film composer Hans Zimmer invited Badelt to work at Media Ventures in Santa Monica, California. Since then, he's collaborated with other Media Ventures composers, such as Harry Gregson Williams, John Powell, and Zimmer, and mentored several others like Ramin Djawadi and Daniel Rojas. Composer Alvin Silvestri was originally hired to write the score for The Curse of the Black Pearl, having collaborated with director Gore Verbinski on Mouse Hunt and The Mexican. However, due to creative differences between the producer, Jerry Bruckheimer, and him, Silvestri left the project before recording any material. Verbinski and Bruckheimer decided to go with Hans Zimmer's team instead. Zimmer declined to do the bulk of the composing, and as a result, he referred Verbinski to Klaus Badelt. The final soundtrack album, consisting of 43 minutes of the film's score, was released with Klaus Badelt credited as the composer. Here to guide us through some of the memorable themes from the film is our very own Carla Mimlamar from the Clarinets. Please give her a warm welcome as she comes to the podium. Rounding out our concert tonight is another selection from a composer we sampled in recent shows. This piece tells the heartwarming story about a fierce dragon who turns out to have a heart of gold. Stephen Reinecke is an established symphonic composer, arranger, and conductor. His works, Celebration Fanfare, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and Casey at the Bat, are performed frequently in the United States and Canada. He's composed more than 20 works for concert band, including commissions from the Contra Costa California Wind Symphony. Pilatus, Mountain of Dragons, opens as Mount Pilatus slumbers at night, shrouded in darkness and mystery, among the clouds high above. As dawn breaks, a band of courageous adventurers climb Pilatus in search of dragons to slay. After an arduous journey filled with breathtaking views and terrestrial beauty, the adventurers finally stumble across a dragon lair. They awaken the mighty dragon, who must now battle the intruders of his domain. All but one adventurer are mortally wounded, leaving the pitiful human to beg for mercy and forgiveness from the dragon. Demonstrating great compassion, the dragon produces the magical stone called Draconite from his own wounds in order to heal and save the intruders. In doing so, the dragon has also placed compassion and tolerance in the hearts and minds of man, leading them to a happy and peaceful coexistence with the dragons of Pilatus. As we climb into the mountains, you'll hear wind generated not from the flappings of dragon wings, but actually from a wind machine custom built for our group by our late fine arts production manager, Jennifer Jenkins. Thank you, Jennifer. We're excited to put this into use once more. Before we delve into this last piece, on behalf of all the musicians on stage, I'd like to thank you for your support, your ears, and your energy. And of course, we look forward to seeing you at our summer performance. This is your Georgia State University Perimeter Wind Ensemble, and this is Pilatus, Mountain of Dragons.
march called All Zaporizhian March.